February 1st, 1959. The northern Ural Mountains, Soviet Russia, minus 25 degrees. A canvas tent sits alone on a bare mountain slope in the dark in a rising storm. Inside are 9 young hikers, students and engineers, some of the most experienced trekkers in the country. They are warm. They are laughing. They are writing jokes in a homemade newspaper. And then, at some point in the next few hours, something happens. Someone takes a knife and slashes the tent open from the inside, and all 9 of them walk out into the killing cold. No boots, no coats, some in only socks, downhill into the darkness. None of them ever come back. 3 weeks later, rescuers find a scene that makes no sense. A tent cut open from within. 9 sets of calm, orderly footprints walking away from their only shelter, and when the bodies are found, they carry injuries that shouldn't be possible. Bones crushed by a forced doctors compared to a car crash with almost no marks on the skin, and 2 of them are wearing clothes that are radioactive. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident, Russia's most terrifying unsolved mystery. By the end of this video, you'll know every verified fact, and you can decide what came for them that night. 9 hikers went up the dead mountain. None came down. January 23, 1959. 10 students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnic Institute board a train heading north. Their goal, a 300-kilometer ski trek to Mount Orton. Grade 3 difficulty, the hardest certification that existed. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, radio engineer, veteran of countless expeditions. The kind of person you would trust with your life. With him, Zina, Yuda, Rustam, 2 Yuris, Nikolai, Sasha, and 1 stranger, Samian Zelataryev, 38, a decorated war veteran that nobody in the group had ever met before. Remember him?
I wonder what awaits us on this trip. The boys are singing. I think it will be a good one.
At the last village, the tent member, Yuriudin, wakes up with severe joint pain. He hugs his friends goodbye and turns back. That backache made Yuriudin the luckiest sick man in history. He had just become the only survivor of the Dyatlov group. For a week, everything is textbook. They ski up frozen rivers, sleep in forest camps, and take dozens of photographs, laughing, clowning, completely at ease. Their diaries read like any student road trip. On February 1st, they climbed the treeless slope of a mountain the local Mansi people call Kalatsiak, in their language Dead Mountain. And here, Dyatlov makes a strange call. Instead of retreating to the forest below, they pitch the tent on the open slope. Exposed. In the when? Practice for harder mountains, maybe. We will never know. They eat dinner. They hang their boots. They write their homemade newspaper, the Evening Orton, issue number 1. The last photographs on their cameras show them digging out the tent platform in fading light and blowing snow. Based on the food in their stomachs, investigators believe that within a few hours of that dinner it happened. We don't know what they heard. We don't know what they saw. We only know what they did. The tent was slashed open from the inside, in 3 places, by people desperate to get out fast. Faster than untying the entrance. 9 sets of footprints head down the slope. And here is the detail that haunts every investigator since. The prints are not running. They are walking. How? Almost single file. In socks. At minus 25. Whatever drove 9 experienced hikers out of their only shelter also kept them from panicking. Or made panic pointless. They walk 1.5 kilometers, 15 football fields, down to the tree line. In the dark. In a storm. And there the footprints vanish under fresh snow. Back home, February 12th comes and goes. That's the day Dyatlov promised to send a telegram. Nothing arrives. Days pass. Families start pounding on official doors. On February 20th, the search begins. Student volunteers, army units, helicopters, Mansi trackers. And on February 26th, a search team spots something on the slope of Dead Mountain. Canvas half buried in the snow.
We found the tent. It's cut open. Everything is still inside. Boots, coats, food, cameras, even their money. But the hikers are gone.
9 pairs of boots. 9 coats. In that cold, leaving your boots is not a mistake, it's a death sentence. Every rescuer on that slope understood it immediately. Nobody survives this. The question was no longer if they would find the bodies. It was what state they would find them in. The next day, under a giant cedar at the tree line, they find the first two, lying beside the remains of a small fire in their underwear. The branches above them are snapped off 5 meters up the trunk. Someone climbed that tree, in the dark, with bare frozen hands, either to see something in the distance or to get away from something below. Between the cedar and the tent, they find 3 more, Igor, Zina, and Rustam, spread out in a line, all facing uphill. They died walking back toward the thing they had fled. The autopsies say hypothermia, all 5. Rustam has a skull fracture, but a survivable one. The story almost writes itself. Something scared them out, a slide, a noise, and the cold did the rest. Even the underwear has an explanation. It's called paradoxical undressing. In the final stage of hypothermia, freezing people feel unbearable heat and tear off their own clothes. Case almost closed. Except 4 hikers were still missing, and the snow was starting to melt. May 4th. 75 meters deeper into the forest, under 4 meters of snow, searchers find a den built of cut branches, and in a ravine beside it the last 4. These 4 are dressed in clothes cut from the bodies of their friends. They did everything right. They built shelter. They survived the longest. And they have the worst injuries of all. Lyuda and Zolotaryov, chests crushed, multiple ribs broken with a force compared to a car crash. Nikolai, a fatal skull fracture. And yet, almost no bruises. No external wounds. As if the force passed through them. Some of Lyuda's soft tissue was never found. Decomposition in the spring meltwater, says the official file. 60 years of nightmares, says everyone who has ever read it. Then a lab report lands on lead investigator Lev Ivanov's desk. 2 items of the hikers' clothing carry unexplained levels of radioactive contamination.
I suspected it then, and I am almost certain now. They died because they could not overcome a compelling natural force.
That phrase, a compelling natural force, is the entire official explanation. The case was sealed. The pass was closed to hikers for 3 years, and the file disappeared into the archives. So what happened? 60 years. 75 theories. Here are the ones that matter. Theory 1, an avalanche. Problem, the slope is only 23 degrees, barely enough. The tent was pinned, not swept away, and the footprints walk away calmly over unbroken snow. Theory 2, the official answer when Russia reopened the case, a slab avalanche. A small, dense plate of wind-packed snow sliding onto the tent as they slept. It explains the crushed chests, bodies pinned against rigid bedding. It explains the panic exit. Swiss scientists even simulated it. Problem, no slab debris was ever recorded. And a slab explains why they left the tent but not why 9 experts never made it back to it. Theory 3, infrasound. Wind wrapping around the dome of Dead Mountain can generate a frequency below human hearing, one that produces pure physical dread. Invisible, traceless, terrifying, and unprovable. Theory 4, the military. That same month, other hikers in the Urals reported glowing orange orbs drifting across the night sky. Rocket tests? Parachute mines? It would explain the radiation and the silence. Lev Ivanov believed it to his dying day. As for the radiation, the boring answer is that 2 of the hikers worked at a secret nuclear facility and wore contaminated work clothes on the trip. The less boring answer you can guess. But here's what no theory has ever fully explained. Why did 9 of the most experienced hikers in the Soviet Union, who did everything right after leaving the tent, never even try to go back inside it? Whatever they saw on Dead Mountain that night freezing to death felt safer. In 2019, Russia officially reopened the case. The verdict, slab avalanche. The families rejected it. Today, a memorial stone at Dyatlov Pass carries 9 faces. The snow sound or something in the sky? Drop your verdict in the comments. I read everyone. And if you missed last week's mystery, a man hijacked a plane, took $200,000, jumped into a storm, and was never seen again. It's on screen now. Subscribe for the next one. A man found dead on an Australian beach. No name, no labels in his clothes, and in his pocket an unbreakable code.